Hello, and welcome to the next episode of the Spirit and Soul podcast. I am your host, Tiffany Cohen, owner of Spirit and Soul Studio. And today we're talking about a Target purchase that I made that ended up becoming such incredible advice, motivation, and really stayed with me as words to live by. And I'm going to tell you all about this story, and we're going to dive into what these words are and how we can really live into them and understand them. So, here's what happened. When I was in corporate America and I had just gotten my own office, and I was trying to find different pieces of like artwork and things that spoke to me. And one of the things that I bought was from like Bed Bath and Beyond, and it was this beautiful tree. And then I found this I don't know if you can't say cute. I guess it was like a really nice saying. It spoke to me at this time that I was getting uh, this office. I was also working on my blog. I was really getting things rolling with that. I was really at the point where I was making moves and building a business so that I could leave the bank and leave the corporate environment that I was in. And this whole thing just spoke to me, and I had to have it, and I put it in my office, and I really loved it. And I had gotten so many comments about it over the years. But here's what it said. It says, live the life you've always dreamed of. Be fearless in the face of adversity. Never stop learning. Use your imagination whenever possible. Recognize the beauty that surrounds you. Remember where you came from, but never lose sight of where you are going. So, this whole thing just spoke to me so much, this whole saying, and I had it hanging where I could see it. So, like where I was sitting at my desk, it was like the thing that I looked at all the time. It was right there. And it was right on this wall, and it was very blatant. And I had so many people that came in and commented on it and really, liked it, or some people that would just like look at it and kind of look away. It was actually very interesting, the responses that this picture was getting. And there was one in particular that really stuck out. And I realized that as I was going through my own journey, and I was really tapping back into my spirituality and really tapping back into me, I was starting to learn people, right? Learn about people, learn about their responses, really take the step back out of my ego, which if you're in corporate America, you can understand can be a hard thing. Okay. There's a lot of ego in corporate America. And I was really trying to take that step back and really, look at things from the eyes of the soul, and look at people and how they were responding or reacting to this picture. And again, some people really liked it. Some people kind of looked at it and like looked away. So no comments, no nothing, just like maybe it made them think, maybe they didn't believe some of it, whatever it might be. But the most interesting comment that I got was from a man who was, super nice, really lovable guy. And he came in and he was looking at it and he was reading it out loud. And he had seen it a million times before, but he had seen, he came in again and he said, okay, live the life you've always dreamed of. He's like kind of like scoffed at it a little. And then he said, be fearless in the face of adversity. Well, that's easier said than done. And I was like, okay, and just kind of sat with that for a little bit. And I realize now, and looking at this man and knowing how he was in different meetings and how he stood up for himself or didn't stand up for himself, it was so fitting that that was the one thing that really stood out to him out of the entire write-up of it, right? Out of the entire picture, that's the one thing that stood out. And I found it to be so interesting. And I realized as I, now not in corporate. I actually ended up buying another one of those for my house because I loved it so much. I wanted my kids to see that every time they left the house. So I have this also hanging in my house. And, I brought it home, and the second one, and I look at it, and I keep looking at these words over and over again. And I decided today that I really wanted to share them with you, because when you really look at these as individual sayings and not just a picture hanging on the wall, there's so much beauty that comes with this, and it's such great advice. And it's things that we talk about all the time, but I want to really point them out to you today. So, first one, live the life you've always dreamed of. I think this is the one that, as you're maybe graduating high school or college, I think we have a lot of ideas of what we want life to look like and all these big dreams, and then we start to go for them, or we start to do things, or maybe we get hurt along the way, or collect evidence to show that life life isn't what we dream of it, right? And we start to collect this evidence that because we have to do all the things, that we can't live the life that we want to live, right? We have to go to college, get married, have kids, do all the things that society tells us that we need to check off the boxes for. And as we start to live into that life, we start to see that it's not the life that we dreamed of, and it's not better, right? And this is where I was in the middle of, as I hung this picture on my wall. I was in my mind, even though physically I wasn't living the life yet, I, in my mind, was already starting to manifest that life. I was living the life that I always dreamed of, and I was focusing on the good things. I was focusing on the business I was building. I was focusing on the time that I got to myself in the morning and building a morning ritual. I was focusing on the good, the positive. And in the end, I was actually able to create that life for myself. And there's something incredible about that. Now, if I was a person that just looked at that line and was like, yeah, whatever, or like, yeah, maybe some of it, then I probably wouldn't be sitting here with you today talking to you like this. I probably wouldn't be doing any of the things that I'm doing. I honestly, I'd probably still be sitting in that office, because let me tell you something. While it afforded me a beautiful lifestyle and I got to meet incredible people and made great friends, that was not the life that I was dreaming of. Sitting behind a desk and, working the way that I was, it just wasn't. And I lived a life that, I had dreamed of a life my entire life, like from when I was a kid, that had a little bit more adventure to it, and it had a little bit more fun to it, and where I was creating what I wanted to see. And even as a kid, I was seeing this life where it was magical. It was a magical feeling to it. And I knew that there was a disconnect between the life that I was actually, physically living, and the life that I had wanted. So what I'm going to say to you is this: if you are not living the life that you dreamed of, it doesn't mean that that's it. Sorry, sucker, it's over. What it means is that you have to start focusing on what you actually do want. And what do you want life to look like? And what could life look like for you if you allow yourself the chance to dream? If you allow yourself the space to go big and to envision a different life. And it doesn't mean that all parts have to be different. It just means that the feeling of it for you is different. So it doesn't mean you're giving up anything that you love. It means that you are actually making changes and choosing to get rid of the things that you don't love in your life, the things that don't suit what this life that you can actually envision for yourself is. So give yourself that time and space. Okay. The next thing, and probably one of my favorites, is be fearless in the face of adversity. And this is the one that my friend had kind of scoffed at and said, ugh, easier said than done, right? And yeah, maybe it is easier said than done. But I think that as you get to know yourself, and as you tap into the energy of of who you are, number one, but of your soulful energy. The energy that keeps you in a place of responding from the soul rather than reacting to life from the ego. The part of you that can take a couple of deep breaths and bring you back to who you actually are. Not this egoic place, not from this 3D reality, but from who you are as a soulful being. I think when you can tap into that, and that person, that person that lives inside of you is the one that's actually in control, then yes, being fearless in the face of adversity it's gonna, listen, whenever we're in adversity, it's going to, push us a little bit. It's going to make you feel uncomfortable. But what you do in the face of that discomfort, of that adversity, makes all the difference. So I had a client who had to do something really hard recently, had to have a very hard conversation with someone in her life. And this person in her life had really, put her in, throughout the course of her life, had put her into a place of like a little bit of fear towards them. And we had a discussion before she had the conversation, right before she was leaving. Gave her the pep talk to do what she needed to do. And she left me a voice note after, and my heart was bursting with pride because she was in the face of adversity. The conversation that she needed to have didn't start out the way in her mind I think that she thought it was going to go. And she stood her ground. Whereas maybe the young version of her wouldn't have. Maybe the version of her from a couple of years ago, before she found her footing, before she found her confidence in herself as a human being, in herself as a person that is connected to her soul and doesn't need to react, but can respond from a place of love. She was able to stand her ground, and that conversation shifted. That conversation turned towards her favor. And there may be many other conversations that she needs to have, but this particular one, she did it. And she was fearless in that face of adversity. And the fearlessness came from her vulnerability, came from all of the times that all of the work that she did, and all of the times that we sat together on, coaching sessions, and she got to know herself more and more and more, and dig deep and forgive and let go. And that she was so confident walking in there. Doesn't mean she wasn't nervous, but she was confident in who she was, that nothing could have shaken it. That the moment that the adversity was in her face, she remembered who she was on a soul level. And for that, I was like, damn, girl, I am proud of you. Because in that moment, and that's, when she left this voice note for me, the words that popped into my mind were, be fearless in the face of adversity. And we can all, and I've been in this situation too, where I've been in a place of conflict, of an area of conflict where I had to have a hard conversation or stand up for someone, something, and my beliefs. And I know for a fact what it is. I was the person that would fly. I don't want to say fly off the handle, but I would react in a big way, and I didn't hold anything back. And now I'm a person that sits and thinks about what she's going to say, and I don't raise my voice, and I have a conversation that is productive and not a screaming match. And I get more done because I'm able to do that from a place of soul. And if you're sitting there like, how the hell do you start? Well, you want to first start by getting connected to you and starting to work through some of your stuff. At the end of the day, people are people, and we're all on our journeys, and there's separate journeys, and we have to respect that for people. And we have to respect that even though this, These people can be your best friend that has known you forever, or a family member that they are on their own journey, living their own life, and that is separate from you, even though your paths intertwine. And you may be a trigger for them. You may have a soul contract with them, and you may never understand who they are, and they may never understand you. But if you can come at them when you have an adverse moment, and you can come at them from a place of love, the game changes. So be fearless in the face of adversity. I find it best to find your courage coming from a place of vulnerability. And Dr. Brene Brown talks about this all the time, is the intersection of vulnerability and courageousness or bravery and truth. You cannot be brave without being vulnerable. And I think that when you are vulnerable, your bravery comes out, shows even more. So I love this quote, probably the best of all. The next one, never stop learning. Yes, yes. Simply put, yes. Never, ever stop learning. Listen, learning means growth. And if you're not growing, you're dying. Okay? So let's grow together. Let's learn. I used to be a person long ago that would go into things if I already had learned about it, knew it, and I'd be like, oh, I know this already. Like, I'm not even going to listen. I am never that person anymore, ever. I don't care how many times I have learned about manifestation, a million times over. I listen every single time as if I've never heard about the word manifestation in my life. And the reason being is that people look at things differently than you. People have a special sauce. People have such different ways. I mean, even if you look at me, Gabby, and Erica, right? Me, Gabby, and Erica. We talking, if you guys aren't familiar with these people, head on over to spiritandsoulstudio.com and book a class with them, okay? Because they're incredible. But I talk about manifesting differently than Gabby talks about manifesting, and also differently than Erica talks about it. Gabby and Erica talk about it differently than each other and than with me. There's, of course, similarities, because there are always going to be similarities, but I learned so much from Gabby and Erica and how they do things differently than how I'm already doing it, than how Michael Beckwith does it, than how so many other people in this world do manifesting. The manifestation babe does it, right? Everybody does it differently, and everybody has something to offer, and you have to take what resonates and leave what doesn't. Your manifesting journey is going to be different than, than the next person's, than mine, because what resonates with you may not resonate with me as a manifester, and that's okay, because your magic is different than mine. Right? So when we never stop learning, it means that we are always open to seeing the world around us as if we were looking through it as the eyes of a child, right? Looking at it with wonder, not like, I know this already. I know it already. I know it all. No, if you are a know-it-all, if you think that you know it all, then I'm telling you something, you're putting up a wall to your actual learning, because you don't know it all. Nobody can. I don't care how much of an expert you are, you don't know it all. And I would hope that you don't. So please, like for me, oh my gosh, I belong to Masterclass, Mind Valley. I take a million different courses all the time. I am always learning. I take classes at the shop with the other teachers. I take classes outside of the shop with other mentors. Like, I am always learning from everybody that I can get my hands on that resonates with me, because I am just a person that always loves to be the sponge and see how I can take this information and incorporate it into my life. You can't just learn. I think a piece of this may be missing, and it says never stop learning, but you also have to use what you learn, right? You can't just like sit on it and be like, yeah, I'm like this wealth of knowledge, but I don't do anything with it. I don't do any integration. I don't incorporate anything into my life. No, that's not where we want to be, right? We want to make sure that you are learning and integrating. So go out today, book yourself a class at Spirit and Soul, find yourself a course, go all in, never stop learning, always have something in your phone, even from podcasts, always have something in your phone that when you're bored or when you're cleaning the house that you can pop in and listen to and grow your knowledge in exponential ways. And do it with an open mind, okay? All right, next up, use your imagination whenever possible. Yes, please. Use that imagination because that imagination is your tool for manifesting the life, the life that you dreamed of. To live the life that you dreamed of, you have to imagine it. You have to envision it happening as if it's already yours. You have to use that imagination. In fact, there's a quote or there's a story in Mary Magdalene Revealed where she says that, you know, when she was younger, she stayed on like a Navajo reservation and for like a summer. And there's in the Navajo language, I don't know what it is offhand, that they don't have a word. Is it for imagination? Yeah, they don't have a word for imaginations because it is, they feel that when they imagine that it is, they are bringing to life something. So there is no in between. When they vision something, it will manifest. So I just really, really love that. It always sticks out in my mind that there's actually not even a word for it because imagination is not separate from who they are and what they can create. So use your imagination, dream really, really big. What's her name? Uh, Sonia Choquette. Sonia Choquette always says, ask yourself the questions, what if? What if? What if I started to live the life that I always dreamed of? What if I was fearless in the face of adversity? What if I never stopped learning, right? Like, always ask yourself these questions. What if I got the house of my dreams? What if I was able to leave my corporate job and open up a Spirit and Soul studio? What if, right? And you continue to ask yourself these questions and allow the wonder to occur. And when the wonder occurs is where the big dreams occur, is where the energy occurs, is where your heart begins to open up to new timelines, to different experiences that you're meant to live in this lifetime. I heard something that said the word desire actually comes from the Latin day of sire, meaning like God, right? God. And you know, we can say God, universe, so whatever that word is for you, the energy of it is that whatever you desire is of God, of the universe. It was put in your heart for a reason, for you to bring it to life. You have to bring it to life. You have to imagine it. You have to dream it into existence because that's what you signed up for. Remember, that's what God, that's what the universe wants to experience through you as a manifested being, as an extension of the universe. So you had better get off that butt and get that thing in motion. You know what I'm saying? All right. Recognize this one, also one of my favorites. Recognize the beauty that surrounds you. The importance of this honestly knows no bounds for me. And I think it's because it comes down to gratitude. In gratitude, you will find more things to be grateful for. And in this world, when we just are walking through life and going through life with blinders on, not taking chances, not following our dreams, just doing the same thing over and over again on the hamster wheel, doing the same routine every day, what happens here is that you don't see the beauty surrounding you. You don't see the outside world because you're just on autopilot. And that's not a life that you want to live. You don't want to live an autopilot life. You want to see the beautiful sunsets. My mother-in-law, Janet, she's such a such a flower lover. Loves flowers. She also loves birds. And one thing that I love about her the most is that she recognizes the small beauties of the world. And in fact, Andrew does as well. My husband, Andrew, really does as well. He recognizes the small things, some of the things that I don't even look at. Like, they got me into like looking at flowers, looking at birds. Like, that was never my thing. And because I was on autopilot for a long time. And Andrew would be like, "Oh, look at this flower over here." And it's like not even something that was in my radar, because usually I'm like just focused. Like if we're having a conversation, I'm focused on the conversation. I'm like not looking at things. And he's the person that takes in the world. And so is my mother-in-law. They take in the world and they notice the beauty that surrounds them. And now that's something that I take to heart as well, that I make sure that I stop and I look and I give gratitude for a beautiful flower, for an incredible tree, for an absolutely amazing sunset or sunrise. These are the things that we get to live in this world. And while there are so many bad things that happen in this world, yeah, and if we focus on those things, our life is going to feel pretty shitty. Let's just be realistic, right? But if we start to focus on the good in the world, not ignoring the bad, knowing that it's there, but choosing to focus on some of the good things, like a beautiful sunset, like a stranger being kind to somebody that, in the street, like love, help, right? Any of these things that you can start to see in the world around you, your heart will begin to swell. It's like the Grinch, right? When his heart was too small, and then it started to grow and grow and grow. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. You can't unsee the beauty. So keep looking for it. And then last but not least, remember where you came from, but never lose sight of where you are going. Ooh, let me tell you something. This is your humbleness. This is you whenever you get to wherever you want to be and the things that you want, always remembering and looking back and giving gratitude for where you came from, and being so inspired by the old versions of you, the past versions of you that had to do the work, that had to do the things in order to get to exactly where you are right now. That is one of the best places that you can be. So never, ever lose sight of where you're going, even though I want you to be in the present moment, right? But always take those times to look back and say, damn, I came far, but damn, I've got so much more growth to do. And I'm excited for the journey. And I'm also excited for the journey that has gotten me here today. I think that's what keeps us humble. That's what keeps us coming back to the heart and remembering that this journey never truly ends. So I hope that you enjoyed this episode of the Spirit and Soul podcast. I hope that you enjoyed a little glimpse into one of my favorite quotes hanging on my wall and the stories behind it. This was definitely a picture that really caused a lot of great conversations and some debates and also a ton of inspiration. And I hope that it inspired you as well. All right, I'll see you on the next episode of the Spirit and Soul podcast.